Hi guys, welcome to Anniewood episode 150. This is a very special one. I'm actually nervous about it. We have my Breathwork Shaman on, who is one of my favorite people, and honestly, one of the people that I absolutely love and trust the most on this planet. And you'll see I'm very nervous on it. I'm like geeking out. Yeah, it was a good chat, and it's just I want to share someone I love who's helped me so much in my life and guided me, and he's just such a special guy. There's some links to some of his stuff below in the show notes, so check that out. I have my inner child here. I'm nursing her, little baby Annie. I'm breastfeeding her. Isn't that a trip? Let's go back in our lives and breastfeed our own inner children. She's okay. She's fine. She's tough. She's me. You can also go to our Patreon for an uncensored extended version of this episode. And also, we're going to be doing some Survivor watch-alongs this season. We are 1 week behind, but we will catch up. We're so excited. It's our favorite show in the world. We hope it's yours. So go to patreon.com/Annie Lederman for that and other goodies. And I'm on the road. I love doing stand-up comedy. My shows in Calgary last weekend were absolutely incredible. I just feel like a new thing is happening, and it's so fun. So I'm so grateful for you guys for coming out. You can see me this weekend at Laughs in Seattle. I will have my friend Richie Armani and the great. You may have seen her. She's been in the news for decades, and also on a lot of podcasts recently because of the show that just came out about her. Amanda Knox is going to be doing some guest sets on a few of the shows. So come see it. It's going to be amazing. I feel like all three of us will kill. And so that is October 3rd through 4th. Then you can see me in New Jersey. I'm coming home, baby. I'm going to be in Point Pleasant at Uncle Vinny's. I'm going to be there the 17th and 18th. So come, you'll probably see some of my drunk in-laws and some of my family members. It'll be great. Also, November through 14th, I will be in Skankfest in New Orleans. Obviously, I would never miss it. And then November 20th, I'm in Houston, Texas, 20th through the 22nd. And then September 12th through 13th, I'll be in Batavia, Illinois at the Comedy Vault. It's right near Chicago, so come see me. I'm going to be December 26th through 27th. I'm going to be in Potsdam, PA, baby. Let's do it. Let's have our Christmas session. Then January 9th through 10th, I'm going to be in Austin, Texas at the Creek in the Cave. January 16th through 17th, I'm going to be in Columbus, Ohio. That's fun. January 30th, I'll be in Fort Worth, Texas. January 31st, I'll be in Dallas, Texas. February 22nd, I will be going on a cruise with the boys from Workaholics, and This Is Important. So definitely come hang out on that. That's going to be awesome. And then I'll be in Edmonton, April 24th through 25th. A lot of shows are always being added. The next Anniewood and Friends is going to be on the 21st of October, so come to that. It's going to be awesome. It's going to sell out like they always do. You're not going to want to miss it. And yes, I love you guys. Please enjoy this special episode where I'm so nervous and totally geeking out and such a weirdo because I'm just sitting across from someone that I love so much in every dimension of this universe. So please enjoy.
Welcome to Anniewood.
Hi guys, welcome to Anniewood episode. I think it's 140. I never know. I always get the numbers wrong. It's my thing. I have today a very special guest. We're live from Boulder, Colorado. Well, we're not live, but we're live to tape from Boulder, Colorado with one of my favorite people. You may have heard me talk about him. He is an artist, a creator, a writer, a breathwork shaman. He's one of my favorite people on earth. My shami, Jacques Theron.
Hello. Well, good to be here.
I'm so excited. This is kind of like a dream episode for me. I'm nervous, not in like a real way, but it's just been a long time.
I've never seen you blush.
I'm blushing. I'm nervous. Look, I have a mustache. But yeah. So Jacques and I, you guys may have heard how long ago was Costa Rica?
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
So 3 years ago, we did a breathwork 2 weeks, 10 days in Costa Rica. That was so amazing and so cool. And I'm sure we'll talk about that. I don't know, Jacques, do you want to introduce yourself to people and tell people what would you want them to know about you?
Well, I've been a breathwork practitioner for about 30 years now. And I guess ultimately I work with trance states and allowing trance to bring healing and allowing trance to give us a different experience of ourselves and of the divine.
Yeah. And I think we're gonna cover a lot of stuff. Jacques has taught me, I don't know much, but anything I do know about mythology is from Jacques. This is one of his books, and he is the artist of all these things too. And I'm always trying to find my archetype, and he's always telling me who it is, and I'm always rejecting it.
Yes.
And then
He's very cheeky.
I'm very cheeky, and some of these paintings are very cheeky too, Jacques. A lot of Botox in it. But I also want to talk about manifestation, and I've been on this spiritual journey for years. I've known you since 2019, I think. Mm-hmm. And so I've been on the spiritual journey basically since then. But even more recently, I've been taking Anniewood in more of that direction. So it's like exciting and fun.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so how are you doing?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes. I have to lead the interview, but I'm nervous. So, but we show our dents here at Anniewood, our embarrassment. So what would you like to talk about first?
I think manifestation is always good, and how when we change our minds, we can change our lives, and how when we change our breath, we can change our minds. And it kind of sounds cliche, I know, but it's actually just very practical.
Yeah.
To breathe differently, and literally breathing differently causes a different brain frequency, which means you resonate a different energy, which means you then therefore attract a different energy into your life.
Yeah, and I think I've worked with you a lot on it, and I feel like a lot of people think that you need to do plant medicines, you need to do all this stuff. Breathwork is like a perfect starter. I just got a DM from one of my sober girlies who was saying that she was like so excited to hear that you don't need to, you can get to 5D, you can get to these other dimensions without supplements. You can still do them. I'm not against, but if you are, I am. But I think that breathwork's so amazing. And what I like when we do breathwork, so basically I've done a lot of sessions with Jacques too, where it's like we kind of like talk out what's going on, and then we go into a trance state, and then I've like built weird gardens with you. I've been on lily pads. I banged Zeus once with Jacques. He wasn't there. It wasn't like a threesome. But if someone wanted to get into breathwork and they've never heard anything about it, how would you explain it to them?
You just literally breathe deeper or breathe fuller. And after about 15 minutes, you start to enter a trance. And very often, I think most people nowadays know yogic breathwork, for example, or meditative breathwork. But there are other techniques like holotropic breathwork, ecstatic breathwork, which is what I practice, rebirthing, which is maybe a little bit less about meditation and kind of holding your posture and, counting your breaths and breathing into the diaphragm and so forth. The more freeform breathwork actually, especially if you work with music, like quite intense shamanic music, it actually takes you into a full trance. With holotropic breathwork, for example, you really do hallucinate completely. You have full-on visions. It stimulates the pineal gland, the third eye, so it really opens you to a visionary state.
I was straddling Zeus. We were up on it was a very tall throne that went all the way into heaven, and I was just banging him. I had to tell Todd. It was so real. I had to confess to Todd.
Well, you probably entered the archetypal realm there. So.
Well, I've been trying to be Zeus. He never lets me be Zeus. And then when did you've just always been into this? Jacques can do everything. He can like sing. He's one of those people. And with enough breath work, maybe I'll be one of those people too. Jack of all trades. And, yeah, I don't know. I love my Jacquino. He's so cute. But yeah, I think, all right. So if people want to get started on breath work, what's their first step?
Sorry, should I look there or should I look at you?
I always do both.
Okay.
But
okay.
I'm weird.
Okay.
What do people do here?
look at each other.
They just look at each other.
Look at each other. I feel more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's many ways, like 44 breaths, which is a technique that I do, is just a very simple 2 or 3 or 4 minute process that's maybe more meditative, that you can just do before you do meditation or before you start your day. Then doing something like ecstatic breathwork, that's an hour. And then you lie down, you listen to very evocative music. And after about 20 minutes, you start going into what you need to go into. And I think that's the really beautiful thing about this is, especially for new people, it's like your body has an inner healer. Your body has an inner knowing. So it knows exactly, or let's call it the inner healer. I mean, obviously there's other words you can ascribe to it, like your soul or your higher knowing, knows exactly where you need to go. Or even just your biology knows, like if you've been eating badly or eating wrongly, your body knows that something's out of whack. So
that's where you get diarrhea.
Yes, exactly. Or constipation.
I would take diarrhea over constipation any day. Don't you clog me up. I feel like with breath work, it's like shocking the things you've been holding on to that you didn't even realize. Like there's such a release. A lot of my friends that I've ever taken for their first breath work, they
full emotional release where a lot of people sort of relive, let's say, a rape or a station or a really difficult.
He knows my brand. He knows my audience. The chosen ones, we were cute. Sorry we were so cute.
But the beautiful thing about it is you can actually see it, re-experience it, but you can see it with distance.
Yeah.
So you don't have to relive the trauma, or it's not re-traumatizing. You see it from the space of being healed, and then that allows that healing journey to happen.
Do I ever get to just flip it on him? I'm like, now I'm here to molest you, dreadlock guy. I wouldn't want to do that, obviously. A lot of times, like when you say an hour-long breath work, I know the audience is feeling like this. I'm like, that sounds like hell. An hour long. It sounds so crazy. It's my ego is like, does not want me to do this. What's up with our egos, like not wanting us to do these things that we know? Like I know an hour of breath work will change my day, my week. It'll make everything better, but still it's like the hardest thing in the world to do.
Yeah. And I think part of that is because we've kind of got two brains or two experiences of the world. So there's our sort of egoic state where we are centered on, let's say, our bodies, our experience, our distractions, what's happening in the world. But then after literally 15 minutes of breathing, you enter that other space where time disappears, where, okay, you can relive previous experiences, and they don't need to be traumatic. I mean, you can go to beautiful places. You can go to your future. You can go to, your happy place in the world. You can have visions about where you need to be going. But after about 15 minutes, you go into that, I kind of call it the sort of poetic dream space, but it's a very powerful space of knowing where you connect to your knowing. And then it's beautiful. Then time disappears. And usually people say, wow, was that really an hour long? It went by so quickly and it was so much fun. And it's not, only about being fun, or it's not only about being therapeutic. It's an experience of being with yourself and experiencing yourself in new ways. And the amazing thing is that every single breathwork session is completely different. So, you can often say, well, I want to go back to this experience and I want to relive this. And you can't force it. There's like a higher wisdom that knows where to take you.
I always want to go to Antarctica for some reason. I don't know why. I'm always like, should we go?
Yeah.
Does anyone else in this room have a desire to go to Antarctica? Is this just me? I'm a psycho.
Yeah, no, you're not a psycho.
We could be like on a boat. It's going real slow.
Very quiet. I've heard it's the quietest place in the world.
Well, not when I'm there. Let's see if I can change that. I'm just echoing through. My mustache like fuses with my lower lip mustache. It fuses together and I can't talk.
You get icicles. These little walrus nostrils from your breathing.
Yeah, and then, but so like, I think I was thinking more like with the ego, like, why does your ego want to keep you away from the things that are so obviously, like your soul knows it's good to do these things.
Yes.
But then your ego wants you to stay small. Like, what is that?
I call it the uncomfortable comfort zone. It's an uncomfortable place that we know, the egoic state. And I've got nothing against the ego. It's not always a comfortable place to be, because the ego is made up of our defense mechanisms, that like living through our traumas, like the mechanisms we've learned to try and survive.
It's like my entire career. I'm like, if I get rid of my ego, do I have a job?
So it's that uncomfortable comfort zone. And even though it might be an uncomfortable place, it feels familiar. And the ego, or our being, kind of likes the familiar. So very often before people do breath work, for example, they feel really anxious because on another level, they know something's going to change or transform, or they're going to have to face something about themselves.
Yeah.
But then when you go into that space, it's such a forgiving space. It's such a beautiful space. It's a space of love, where we can reconnect to ourselves. And I think that's a really important point, is when we go into the trance, we kind of connect a little bit more with our soul. And when we do that, we're in the space of absolute love and forgiveness. And that is where the healing comes. It's not only forgiving ourselves, but maybe forgiving other perpetrators of trauma or whatever. So we can just let it go, and we don't have to carry that stuff. So in that process, we are constantly redefining what the ego can be. And so in that sense, it's like the ego is not a bad thing. It's just when the ego doesn't grow, or when the ego stays stuck in its old uncomfortable patterns. And all addictions or whatever is just kind of the ego's ways of dealing with things. And when we start to expand our consciousness and our awareness of ourselves, we can kind of look back on ourselves and say, oh, wow, I don't need to live like that, or I don't need to do that anymore. I can sort of see the bigger picture. I can look back on myself, and I can actually change how I do things.
I know. And I feel like with the ego, like all the spiritual work I do, it's like killing your ego. But I'm kind of like, I think my ego is cute. I don't want to get rid of my ego. Maybe we can direct her in another direction or something.
Exactly.
But she's cute. She's like 14. She shoplifts. Like, she loves them all. I'm like, why do we have to get rid of her? She's funny. She's mean to her teachers, but they still like her. Some too much. But yeah, no, I think that there's it's like down here that breathwork moves. And I noticed that, and I think you've noticed this with our sessions too. Like, I kind of, sometimes I get I just do shallow breaths, which it's gotta be my ego being like, we can get through this without, we can
changing.
Yeah, we don't have to change. But, and I do worry too. What do you think about, do you think there's a world where I spiritually eviscerate my sense of humor accidentally?
No, I don't think so. I think it's your essence. I think that's what your soul wanted for you, And I believe that as we cultivate our truest essence, the ego still has, no, I'm going to start again. Sorry.
It's okay, Todd. He's good.
No, I think we can really cultivate our best qualities. And that doesn't have to be a denial of the ego, sort of transforming the ego doesn't mean we have to become monks and nuns and sort of, stay in the lotus position our whole lives. It's like for example, you've already got your sort of soul purpose is around comedy and being funny, and you knew that that's what you had to do. And it's just, I think you're getting better in what you do. So that means you're kind of cultivating a new persona or transforming your persona, but still remaining true to your essence.
I mean, and I couldn't, I don't have any other options for jobs. I can't really be a teacher. I've said pussy juice on YouTube too many times. I'm busted. The kids would have too much to look up.
You could be a model.
I'm a model. That was cute. Thank you. I was thinking too, like with where I'm at in my spiritual journey, I'm having a lot of fear around, because I feel like I want to be the things that I have negative thoughts about, I want abundance. I want a larger audience. I want more money and stuff like that. And I think in my head, there's something that feels nefarious about that. There's some story that I have deep down that I'm fighting against. And I know in my soul, I want to share light. I want to, and I want to be able to like create things for other people with money and, not have my family worry about money and stuff like that. So I know there's like good things behind it, but I know there's something that I'm not really like giving up. And I know that surrender is kind of the answer to maybe everyone's manifestation problems, is like a surrender and a trust and letting go. And there's something in my ego that won't let me do that. Like, I'm afraid if I surrender, it's almost like if I say I'm happy with how I'm doing, like this is the only place I'll get to. Not that it's a bad place. It's a beautiful place, but my soul wants more. I want more. Or maybe my ego. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it's also surrender. I think surrender is one half of the process. I think the other half is steering. It's like if you use the model of going with the flow, it's like if you're going downstream and there's rocks in the middle of the river, you don't want to crash into the rocks in going with the flow. It's like you're allowed to steer around it. And I think that's the power of manifestation, is fundamentally we need to go with the flow, but within that flow we need to steer. We need to cultivate.
Guys, if you're struggling in the bedroom, Anniewood and Rose Sparks is here to help you, because we're going to get you the help that you need. We want to get you where you're going, and you know where we want you to go. We want you to go to the light, the gooey white light, okay? We want there to be a gooey white light at the end of your tunnel, ladies. Hopefully not like too close to the end, not inside, unless you want it to be inside. Sometimes you don't want it to be inside, and it's kind of like close to the outside, and you're like, oh no, what do? We got to go get a wet towel to clean up all of this white gooey light. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Grab their 2-in-1 prescription treatment if you're looking for fast, long-lasting erections. Ooh, aren't we? You just dissolve it under your tongue. Since they're going right into your bloodstream, they'll work in 15 minutes on average, okay? Which, by the way, let's let it dissolve in 15 minutes and let's let it last a little longer. The formula also contains tadalafil, which stays active in your system for up to 36 hours, so you can even be ready for a morning session after. Sometimes be careful what you wish for, but you know what I mean? That's pretty exciting. Not bad. We're enjoying it over here in Anniewood. Ro will connect you with a medical provider that's 100% online, so you can take care of your business from the comfort of your own home. If prescribed, new sexual health patients will get $15 off their first order of Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with a provider at ro.co/Annie to find out if prescription Rose Sparks is right for you. That's ro.co/Annie for $15 off your first order. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. For full safety information, go to ro.co/safety-info. Enjoy it. This one's on me. I was thinking too, like, even with, so the story behind us booking this studio, which is, it's so awesome. We're so grateful to be here. Thank you so much. But so I wanted to come hang out in Colorado for one more night. And Todd, my fiance who edits the podcast, he's working. So he like really needs the podcast in by Monday to get it done in time. So I'm like, off. I'm hanging out. I'm like, how do I do this both? But then I'm like, wait a second. I could interview Jacques on my podcast. This would be so epic, so perfect, so everything that I've ever wanted. And then, but now it's like a Saturday and I have to figure out, I'm in Canada and I have to figure out how, when I'm in Colorado at this very specific time, how we can find a studio. And I'm calling around, I'm trying to find places. Nobody can do it. And I start to kind of get a little anxiety around it. And so yesterday when I was in Calgary waiting to do my shows, I was just kind of like in the bed in darkness in my hotel room, like, how am I going to do this? And I knew this was a good idea. Like the spark of this idea, I was like, oh, this is great. This is totally going to work out. But then I didn't fully trust it. And then when I met, can you tell me your name again? Yuval. When I met, am I saying it Yuval? Okay. When I met Yuval, and it just worked out perfectly. I kind of was thinking in my head, I started to shame myself for the time that I spent worrying about it and not trusting that it would happen. But then I was thinking about it on the other hand, I was like, that actually made me call more people. I think I could have just maybe sent an email out and assumed it was going to work out. And then maybe that person would never have emailed me back. I don't know. Do you think sometimes our anxiety and sort of our, like, maybe our coping mechanisms are sometimes actually helping us towards the light, or do you think there's a full trust that I can be looking towards?
I think challenge always takes us further and makes us dig deeper. And I think challenge, or a perceived challenge or a perceived anxiety makes us push beyond our old patterns. So, I don't think we must just, absolutely trust everything's going to flow. We need to put in the work.
I mean, we have a friend that's like that, and it does work out for her.
Right. Yeah.
She's getting us Indian food right now. But, because I was thinking about that, because when I started to shame myself, I was like, that's actually the thing. That's the lesson I needed to learn, is to not like shame, because I've spent a lot of my time being anxious about things, and they do tend to work out.
Yeah.
Even if it's not in the timing that I think.
Or maybe you're being too anxious about being anxious.
Yes. I'm like, ooh, look at this fun habit. I mean, I could be anxious about this. I'm getting a little anxious actually talking about this. I'm not, but I am sweating. I'm schwitzing. Is that your language? It's Israeli. And now, okay, so you're always kind of like, Jacques has a deck of mythology cards too. And
those are the ones you use sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
On your show or something?
Yeah, I brought them on the show before.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then, when we've done our breathwork weekends, we always kind of pick one in the middle. I have so many random of your cards at my house that I've accidentally stolen. But I was reading through your book and trying to learn about them, because I don't know anything about. I mean, we were coming in here and you're like, no, the time period of every building and stuff. I'm like, where's the coffee shop? But you told me that I'm like Artemis.
Yes.
And tell me,
you resisted.
I still resist it. Now tell me why I'm like Artemis.
Well, Artemis is like the wild woman. She sort of runs through the forests. She sort of is curious, brave, courageous.
Okay.
And in her curiosity, she finds her target, what she wants to go for, what she wants to follow. And obviously being in the wilderness is scary. And I think you're pretty much in the wilderness in many ways.
Yeah, I guess
it's
true,
like you're in a kind of a wild world. But there's also that absolute sense of, in being curious and in looking at all the options, there's eventually the sense of what's right becomes clear. And then you can follow that. And then because you've tested the options, when you find what's right, you can go with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, whereas Athena, which probably is what you would like more, right?
I want to be Zeus. I'm trying to be a dude. I'm trying to have some power up in this bitch. Be a fucking
She's
girl.
powerful. She's like, Artemis is powerful. She rules the forests. I mean, it's all metaphorical anyway. It's symbolic. I mean, just because Artemis symbolically is about the forest doesn't mean that you have to go and live in the forest.
Yeah. No, I like the beach. I like the city.
Yeah, which would make you maybe more Athena in a way.
Yeah.
But Athena is kind of more following the rules. She's the daughter of Zeus, and she's kind of Zeus's right-hand woman, so she's more correct.
Be
she's
weird
more
if I banged
legal. Him. Would be weird if you banged him now.
But Zeus, he does bang everyone. They were weird back then. They didn't have the same principles we did. And then how do you use use mythology for yourself in your life? Do you use it every day? Do you think of the cards?
Yeah, I think mythology is a realm more than stories. And eventually people observed life and they started to write down the stories, and then they started to see patterns in those stories, which can be applied to psychological states, for example. So for me, mythology it's kind of a language of looking at the world and understanding it from, let's say, a mythological perspective. So, you can meet a person, you can say, wow, you kind of have a very Apollo energy, but they might be frustrated with their Apollo energy. For example, Apollo might make it difficult to have intimate relationships. So in that case, that, certainly in the work that I do, I could sort of suggest, well, maybe you need to develop a bit of Dionysius, or maybe you need to develop a bit of Aphrodite in order to attract love, if that's what you're wanting. So it's
some Apollos.
Right, yeah.
Like, just let me love you idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck's wrong with you? So many of those guys. You've helped me through a few of those guys. Yeah. And then what's your, I don't even know, what's your school background? What did you go to school for?
I studied architecture, and then I studied psychology and languages. And then, I mean, that was kind of my university training, but then I did breathwork, apprenticeships, and various other spiritual practices.
So many things I want to talk about, but
you're in charge of time, so.
I know, but I think we're cooking, but we're not. We're still
okay. Yeah,
early
we've got
on.
lots of time. Yeah.
I know. I'm like trying to think of what's like a fun thing we could do.
What do you think, Mel?
What would you want to hear?
Okay.
Tarot. Oh yeah. Well, okay. So
you can then ask is like, how does mythology relate to the tarot?
Because it does sound a lot like, so mythology, the way you describe it, it sounds a lot like tarot. It sounds a lot like astrology. It kind of, are these all connected? And I know that you have done some really powerful readings for me that are up, honestly. Some where I'm like, I don't want it to be bad. Like, it's going to get a little tough. It's like, no, I don't want it full cluster headaches. I was like, no. But yeah, tell me about the tarot as well.
The tarot is in the same realm. It's sort of a mythological realm. It kind of reflects what's happening on another level to what's happening here in the real world, or the so-called real world. So the tarot is kind of a map of the universe. It's kind of a map of human consciousness. You've got the four elements, wands, pentacles, swords, cups, etc. Then you've got the major arcana cards, which are a map of consciousness, the map of the development of one's psychological state, be that sort of in a microcosmic sense, like in a short phase of one's life, or in the bigger phase of one's life. So the tarot in itself is like a mythological representation of life. When you have it in its kind of neutral form, or when you work with a tarot just as an entity, let's say. I know it sounds a little bit confusing, but then when you go for a tarot reading and you draw cards, your space is interacting with those cards. So synergistically, you're drawing the right card at the right moment, which reflects a mythological issue or story that you're going through in your life. So somehow those cards just come in and they reflect, and they're like a book. They're information through symbols, through symbolism, and with kind of a backstory as well. Each card has kind of got a backstory. So then when you draw those cards out of the 78 possible cards that you could draw, if you draw 5, for example, the fact that you got those 5 tells a story, and then the symbolism can be read on different levels.
And then if you because sometimes I want to reject, am I rejecting the truth, or am I rejecting the interpretation of the card? Like, is the card always right? And
the cards have got different levels. So I really have a problem with people who say, I'm psychic and I'm telling you what's going to happen, and that's how it is.
Because then that's your energy doing it, right? It's not because really you're just the person that's laying it out and explaining it. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's different ways of interpreting it. You can go from a empowering approach, or you can go from a sort of top-down approach of, this is what I say, this is what I see, and therefore it's going to happen. And that's a really interesting point, because if the person you're reading for, if the querent, which is the term for that, if the querent or the client really believes in you as a reader, they're going to make what you say happen.
Right.
So they're going to manifest that.
Yeah.
So if they put you on a pedestal and really believe in what you say, they'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really important that you give an empowering reading to someone, because you don't want them to take your word for it.
Keep having this idea of what if I just start a hotline where people call and I just have myself and a staff that just tells them everything they want to hear? Wouldn't that help them? If you just but I guess they would know that we're just doing that.
Not necessarily, but it wouldn't. I don't think it'll be good for your karma though.
Oh, because I could be
giving them the wrong information.
Well, because also I feel but I sometimes if I have any sort of flash of someone's success or whatever, I always send them a message or something. Because I'm if I can see something in someone, then they can see it in themselves or whatever. Never anything I would never send someone a bad thing, but I don't really see bad.
But that's really empowering. I mean, that's empowering if you're having a sense
Well, I'm just like, there's certain people like in comedy where I'm like, I feel like you're gonna be a movie star. Like I just like see it. I'm like, you should have your agent like, if you liked it. I don't know if that's like being nosy or whatever, but someone just like, because I think it's so nice when people tell you like the things they see for you, where you're like, oh wait, it like expands your like, broadens your like.
It can be nice, but
you don't
I mean,
wanna be too,
haven't you come across those irritating people at workshops that sort of say, "I've got a message for you"?
Oh my God,
and
yours,
it's really negative.
Yours, no, you always have some crazy bitch that's had some download about me. Every time there's always one woman that's like, my whole journey was about you. I'm like, how? What are you talking about? It's so weird. Mind your beeswax. But yeah, one woman was like, I just had this was like 3 years ago. We're in Costa Rica. So I'm like, 3 years ago, I'm like freezing my eggs. I'm like panicking about the idea of motherhood. I don't want to think about it. It's like freaking me out. This woman comes to me and she's like, I had a vision of you. And I was like, she's like, I'll tell you later. It was one of those. So then I got it built up in my head. I was like, I wonder what it's going to be. And then she's like, you're going to be a great mom. And I was like, I would have an abortion if I had a kid. I was like, if I got pregnant right now, I'd kill it. And she was like, oh, I was like so mad. She was bringing that shit the fuck up, bitch. Like, I don't want to talk about this. But it was so funny. And it did feel so like pushed on me. I was like, bitch, I'm not talking. I didn't mention any of that to you. And how do you know I'm not? What if I was like infertile or something?
Yeah.
And I've been trying. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, you got to be careful with that, I guess, too.
But I think that's one of the principles of, let's say, any sort of clairvoyant or whatever reading is you've got to give permission. Like if you come to me and say you've got a message for me, I can just say, no, I don't want it.
Right.
Or if
I always want to hear it and then tell them whether
I know. Yeah. I mean,
I'm always like so curious. I'm like, well, what is it?
When people say that to me and they do it often, it's like, I always say to myself, I can reject this if I want.
Yeah. I had someone once tell me, I had a download and Source told me that you need to like be less cocky or whatever. I was like, Source told you I need to be less cocky? Beat it, bitch. I was like, oh my God. I was like, my source says the opposite. My source is like, put on the sunglasses, bitch. You're inside. Who cares? Yeah, I don't know. I guess you're right. There's like that thin line because I don't feel like if I sat down and I really like worked with someone, I think I could maybe like get some downloads and stuff from their guides. But I don't walk around feeling psychic about other people or whatever. But I do think that everyone has full potential.
Yeah.
Except when it comes to like sports. That's the thing. When I was like, I feel like everyone could live their dreams. I'm like, unless you're like
you've got
sloppy
to have the body,
and you want to be a
Yeah.
baseball player, but you can't, you're a slow runner.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. Is that true? If they had that dream young enough, would they have been able to train themselves into being a baseball player?
But some people are naturally talented and others are less naturally. And I think in anything, you know, some people maybe just have the body to become a great sports person.
And then so maybe if their dream, because my brothers were always like obsessed with sports, but they just weren't the most, they weren't like unathletic, but they were never going to go pro. But then my one brother went into sales and the other one went into sports producing. So he works in it.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if like, it's almost like you're latching onto someone else's dream when you're a kid. Maybe it's just not your true potential if you're not that athletic. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's like your ego, like, and maybe if you, because I don't know, I always want to tell people they can do whatever they want, but then I'm like, I don't know, it'd just be an unsatisfied life if you're trying to be.
Can be, yeah.
A baseball player and you're.
Exactly. Or if you're naturally sporty and you'd like to become psychic, you know, and you don't have that ability.
That's so funny to be a little kid that wants to be psychic. There's one little kid I follow that's like, it's so creepy. He's like so psychic. I'm like, ew, get this little kid out of here. Too much responsibility on this child. Give him some cotton candy. What the hell? But yeah, I do always think about that because I was talking to you about like when people come to you and they like when someone wants like their ex back or something, there's something where it feels like there's like you're going against like the law of the universe to try to like
free will of the other.
The free will of the other.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Can you explain a little bit of that?
Well, I mean, I think it's that simple. If one person doesn't want to be with another, that's their free will. And I mean, you often see, these people that claim, I will make anyone fall in love with you, or I will bring your ex back to you. And I mean, you can't. I mean,
pluck one of their hairs and put this doll under your pillow.
Yeah, exactly. And it's obviously that is where I think like you can accumulate bad karma is if you try to go against the free will of another. I think that's kind of one of the universal laws. If you lie to someone in a reading, for example, and
yeah, but why? It's like, what a weird.
I've definitely people do that because they want to look clever.
I've been to the weirdest. Like, I've just been in these. If I go to like a psychic because I'm so insecure at that moment, I always end up getting the weirdest, the creepiest. I had this one lady and her eye was just a little lazy. She was just like I'm like, is that looking at my future or is it looking away from my future? But she was like, I just walked by a place and I went into it and she was just like, there's a spell on you. I was like, no, there's not.
That's what they all say. That's what they all say.
I don't believe in no spells.
Yeah.
I believe that I'm stronger than a spell.
Exactly.
And, I would have to go back. It's like $1,700 and I have to go back for, I think, I'm not even kidding. It was like 20 weeks. I was like, I would rather you have said it was $20,000 for one spell removal than I'm going to come see you, bitch, once a week for 20 weeks.
Exactly.
I'm never going to see you again. I was like, I got to get the out of here, you creep. I'm like, is the spell put on by you weirdo? But I think there's like so much of that. And I can understand when people are like really not into woo-woo stuff. I can get it because it's like, it seems so crazy. But I think for me, it's more like, I just know that I do just like feel the vibration that we all are. And it's like, if you can just vibrate on the right level, like a lot of people always talk about like it's a radio station.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want something, you have to tune to the right radio station.
And it's about what you give your belief to. If you believe that that spell is on you, you're going to manifest the conditions that prove it. And you're going to put that creepy person on a pedestal. And then you're going to have to do the 20 sessions to get out of that.
I hope she doesn't fall off the pedestal with that one eye. She's some depth perception issues. But I also think like with people, when they do want an ex so bad or they're feeling that thing, really they're searching for a feeling that they felt at some point through that person. It's not about that person, right?
Yeah,
so it's
like
their
projection.
Yeah, so it's just more about like, if you want that love of a partner, that's really what you're manifesting.
Yeah.
You're not manifesting from that specific
Exactly.
person.
Yeah.
And also that person blew it, beat it. And
And
if
I
my
think,
exes came near me, I'd call the police. I would call the cops. Don't be manifesting me back, bitches.
And I think that's an interesting thing when it comes to trying to attract a partner. It's like looking at what qualities you've had in previous partners that you've liked and then calling those, and working with those energies as opposed to a specific person. It's about what they bring up in you and how can you keep that state alive within yourself.
I remember you telling me to, when I was single and I was sweating some ding dong, you told me to like just make physical space in my apartment, just like have space in my closet and stuff. I don't know that I did. And then I got a guy that was in the closet. And then that was my last gay boyfriend. So thanks, Jacques. Turns out he was already in there. Yeah, it was like very like clearing. I think for me, it was more like emotional space. But then I've actually started really cleaning my space, and it is crazy.
It's so crazy what it does.
It's because I would wake up. I also realized I've had so much decision paralysis in my life. Most of my day was just spent panicking over making decisions. So then I'm like, oh, why don't I just make them the night before and then have things like things are clean, things are set up. I know I'm going to do this then and this then. I'm like, holy shit, being organized is really getting a lot of shit done. I'm getting done in a day when it would take me like 3 months to get done before. And never my full to-do list, but it's been really fun to like, to do that for myself. And I think another thing I feel like you've been helping me do, which I don't know if I'm at yet, is like having patience. Because that's so annoying.
It's hard.
It sucks.
I know.
Like, can I just have the things I want right now? But then you do get a couple. They'll plop a couple. My manifestations are showing up a year and a half later. I'm like, a year and a half, guys. But then I don't remember. But I also don't remember what else I asked for. So this could be fun.
Yeah, it is. And that's the journey. I
hope it's not a Cybertruck. I did think those were cool. about a year and a half ago, maybe 3 years ago. I thought a Cybertruck was cool. I don't want one. Universe, I take back that manifestation. One just shows up for free at my house. That is funny if you manifest stuff, but you grow out of them and then you just keep getting stuff that you don't want anymore. Yeah, and it's funny, like when I met Todd didn't like check all the boxes, but I guess he kind of did.
He is editing this video.
Yeah, well, he didn't check the boxes. He didn't check the boxes. No, but he didn't. No, but seriously, like he didn't, because I was like, I just want, but he did in a way. So I would be like, I would just want a guy with like a job and a car, you know, and his job was in the basement. I should have said maybe a salary, but and then his car was like, I remember driving him to his car for the first time. I was like, this is your car, Todd? Over the pandemic, we just like let it get taken away and we never saw the car again. Like, just take this car. But I did get what I asked for. And then Todd's very rich in his calmness. And then he's getting rich with his job now. Hi. I don't know. I just see the best in people. Their potential.
Well, his potential has proven itself, though.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's the best. He wouldn't leave my house. I didn't know how to get rid of him. And then, like, I was like, wait, if you leave, I'll die. He's so cute. I love my Todd. Thanks for editing the episode, Todd. He's so cute. Sorry, I'm looking at other men right now. So you give them kind of like small penises. What's up with that?
Well, you don't want to distract from the essence of the message.
Look at the booty on this one. Look, Todd. Looks like your butt. I had a teacher tell me once that she was like, back in the day, like a lot of the, like all the statues and stuff, like they have like big balls, because like balls were like the thing that people coveted more than the penis.
Okay.
Have you heard that?
Not that one, but I've heard that the Greeks believed that a smaller penis is a sign of a more refined spiritual being.
That means the guy in charge had a little ding dong, huh? Had a little ding-a-ling. Yeah, I'm sure Zeus had a 3-incher going around banging everyone. Yeah, right. I'm sure his lightning rod was tiny. So what's your what's your life's purpose, Jacques?
That's a really big question.
Yeah.
I love people. I love working with people, seeing the healing and transformation in people. And then from there, it's kind of what people can create, you know, and being an artist as well, it's consciously exploring our potential. You know, It's like so many people just don't see their potential, and they don't even try and develop their potential. And I guess that was, I don't know, that's what drove me. I always just had a hunger for more, you know, and hunger to be more creative and to create more. And you know, my journey was always more, especially as a teenager, was more about sort of art and creation and so forth.
That's so cute. You must have been so cute. Oh my God. Was he so cute? Oh my God.
I don't think the people at my school thought I was cute, but anyway.
You were like the weird art guy. Yeah. Like, oh my God, he brought his easel again. Oh my God, this easel nerd. I know. So, I wanna create more art and stuff. I was making clay one of the times I was with you, and then I like sculpted this thing, and it kind of looked like you. Accidentally, I sculpted you. Does that make you feel weird when people? No.
Maybe it's because it didn't look like me.
You're like, no. No, it wasn't
joking.
that good.
No, it was good.
It was good.
No, you've got a really good artistic sense.
I never do anything with it.
Well, art's one of those things. It's like you could have a talent, but you've just got to do it and do it and do it and do it. And I think that's a really good lesson for life. Is, you know, we can have a talent, but the love makes us do it and do it over and over again until we master it.
Yeah. And it is a form of self-love doing art too, because it's just like It's pushing yourself and showing up for yourself. But
it's showing up for yourself because you love it. You know, it doesn't have to be art. It can be anything that you do. It's like, it's just that going back, because a part of you knows that there's more and you want more and you want to take it further.
That's how I feel about it, because I've just been like I've been almost doing a comedy special for like 6 years now. It's been like so crazy. But I feel like now I'm actually really applying myself. I get it. Like something just clicked, or it's like, oh, I want to get as much as I can get out of all these jokes and find new angles and stuff. It's been really fun. My performances have been so like tapped in and so good and so present. And I have been doing breathwork before, which does help a lot.
I think before you were attached to the idea that you're not allowed to be organized or whatever, you know what I mean? And you resisted the idea of doing that. And now it's like you found that groove.
I think I was like, my worst nightmare was like, what if I did get organized and then I put together a shitty special? What if I did like put all this effort in, then it sucked? But then I'm like, it's not gonna fucking suck. There's no way it's gonna fucking suck. If I did it disorganized, it would roll. But I think I've just sort of like had this thing where it's like, oh, I'll just bumble through life. And then, because my dad's kind of like that. My dad was like not a great student, but he was really good at, his board scores were always good. So he was always like, just getting by, and we kind of, that's like our charm. It was like, oh, look at us, we just rolled in and got a good test score. Like people in my college hated me. They thought I was so annoying. It was like, I got the same grade as you and I only showed up to class half the time. Haha. But yeah, I think I also like idolize my dad, so I look at my dad acting like that and I'm like, oh, it's like my dad and I are both just like, we're like that cartoon Kathy where it's like, like so overwhelmed and freaking out for no reason. And he was just talking, my dad's 84 now, and he's always like perpetually late on his taxes. Like everything's always like, every morning he's waking up like, my taxes of his entire life. And he finally got them done from like, you know, he has 7 years of taxes. He finally got done. And then I was talking to him the other day and he was like, I think I'm actually going to have someone come in and help me organize stuff. I'm like, just get help, Dad. You're 84. Like, you want to be doing taxes when you're in the evening of life. Get someone to do it. Just party, have fun. But I really look up to my dad too, because he's in like an elders writing course, and he's just always growing. My mom too. They're always growing. They're always learning. They don't let their age stop them from anything, or they're just always like, my dad has the same curiosity he did when he was probably a small kid. Like he doesn't, that never died in him. And so I love that. And then I'm just getting excited that now in my 40s, I'm like, oh wait, I'm just going to apply myself and do this. I'm so excited about all the shit I can do.
Yes.
And because I have their example, I don't really have those same sort of like age restrictions that I think a lot of people have.
Yeah.
It's very weird to see. Living in Hollywood's really funny because everyone does not want to get old. And I'm like, guys, it's cool. Yeah. I think. I mean, it sucks. My knee hurts. I jogged for 1.5 minutes and my knee hurts. But other than that.
But you're more interesting than you were when you were 20.
Well, it was pretty cute. My knee hurt. Both of my knees hurt then. I was busy. I had to pass that test somehow. I know, it's so funny. Do you think that the algorithm is like an energy?
Yeah, I guess so. It's got its sort of consciousness, I think. But that's a difficult one, you know.
I know, because it's hard because people are fucking with us.
But I always I always sort of joke and believe that, you know, God is bigger than an algorithm. So God will find his or her way in somehow. Yeah. You know, to dissolve that. Yeah.
God's non-binary.
Yeah.
Probably though, honestly.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. God has top surgery. It's my favorite. The lesbian boob job. I love when people get in arms about it. I'm like, your wife has a boob job. Let the lesbians cut their boobs off. It's the same damn thing. Let them de-chest. I do think they're kind of copying me though. I was born this way. Yeah, I don't know, because I think about with the algorithm, like sometimes I'm like if I'm energetically ready for my things to really get everywhere, when I really like feel like I know what I'm doing, because I have been just kind of shifting. I obviously always want to be a comedian and do comedy, but I've just been like, I'm so into the spiritual stuff. And I know a lot of people aren't, but I like don't really care if there's people with me that aren't into it. It's like, this is like, what's up, dude? I love it. Yeah, it's so fun. I love my algorithm, just all like manifestation things and stuff like that. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so much more exciting.
And people who aren't into the spiritual stuff can still laugh at you for being spiritual.
Right, totally. I know. And then I'm like, I guess just some people just aren't into it. They just have a different life's path. It's not my problem. Just look behind you for 1 second. She's breastfeeding the dog. Yeah, I want to talk more about like the trance and breath work. And then I would love to end on like very practical steps people could take, maybe places they could go, things that you have that people can go listen to and see. I always do one of your breath works on YouTube and just other places that they can go in general, and how people could really practically start their breathwork journey.
Right.
Your advice, but let's talk trance first.
Yeah, so trance is really where we go beyond the ego and we can really see kind of what's in there. And that's the negative stuff as well as the positive stuff. And maybe in the beginning of one's journey of discovering that, one might see a little bit more of the negative stuff, but then eventually we start, instead of looking down, we start looking up, and we start looking up into our vision and our potential and what's possible. So trance is our constant connection to our own truth, our constant connection to the divine, to inspiration, to insight, so that we can kind of find the knowing, the answers that we need. You know, intuition kind of sometimes comes as a feeling that you might or might not have with someone, but trance is actually a state that we can actively cultivate through breath work or whatever. We can actively go into that space to seek solutions, answers, insights, visions, whatever.
And so if you were like, let's say you're not sure if you want to leave your job, or you know, you have some career decision to make, would you set an intention before you do to say like, I want to find this out? Or do you kind of does trance kind of give you what?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually good to have an intention or idea, but it's not an on and off switch. So trance isn't just going to say yes or no or immediately give you the answer. It's a little bit more of a fluid space. So sometimes you just get an absolute knowing, like when you do breath work or whatever. It's just like, oh wow, I just know deep in me that this is the right way to go and that's not for me anymore. Mm-hmm. But that might be an intuition that also just comes while you're at work or while you're driving, you know, that knowing.
While you're doing trance while driving. Do not trance while driving.
Yeah, exactly.
A TUI.
Exactly.
Oh wait, DTI? Driving no wait.
Driving under the influence.
DUT.
DUIT.
Driving under the influence of trance.
Yes.
I traveled today. Give me a break. Yeah, sometimes I do think that's something too I learned since I started working with you, is just like where it's like, oh, all of the, you know, you can have the people that help you, like you're one of my greatest teachers, but you just guide me and help me guide myself. And just learning like, oh, you do have all these answers inside you, and the shit your brain can show you just through your breath is crazy. You'd think you were on acid, on ayahuasca, on mushrooms. You'd think you're candy flipping. You are just breathing. It's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. It's just so wild. It's so cool. And then just to know that you do have that inner knowing, and you do have support from whatever it is.
Yes. You
know, and then going back to like your inner child and being able to like release your child from all of these things. And
then you've got like your future self, you know, and then the fact that you can choose potential futures, cultivate one way as opposed to cultivating another way. And I know that sounds a bit more out there.
No, I'm like quantum leaping currently. So I'm totally into it. I mean, I can't even believe it. I just wake up one day and be like, oh, new timeline. Here we are. Holy shit. And it's crazy. And I know I'm there because I don't go back. I don't go back to my old patterns. It's just, I just wake up ready.
Just not that person
just
anymore.
Ready to shed that who I am and ready to move forward. And it's so exciting because then I'm like, oh, if I just keep pushing myself, like how like far can I go with everything?
And I think that's the thing that's the link between, let's say, trance and manifestation is, when you find that place of, oh, wow, I just know this, you're going to manifest it. But if you're in that space of, oh, I hope, and oh, I'm going to try so hard and all of that, you're still not believing it on a deep level. So you've got to have that absolute belief to make it happen. But what the breathwork does, just to go back to your previous question about what are the practical steps, what the breathwork does is it kind of gives us the steps to find the trance to get us into that certainty. Because that certainty is what makes it possible. So that's a practice. So, when you breathe, it's like every breath you take, you're saying to yourself, I give permission for this to happen, or I'm breathing in order to make this change. I'm taking in this prana energy. I'm taking in this kind of divine energy or this life force energy, putting it in my body so that it can stir things up so that I can make a change.
And you can just release the things you're clinging to, like the negative ideas.
Exactly. And that naturally, I really believe that naturally goes. When you commit to that, like just through the breath work, when you commit to opening that space in yourself, that other stuff falls away because it's an illusion. And in ourselves, we know it's an illusion, but we condition ourselves, or we're so distracted that we don't see the truth for the illusion. So when we create that space of really getting in there, we can really see and know what's true. But we just got to make the space.
I know, because I do, even when you have those like manifestations that you put out there that you doubt, I'm like, the fact that you even asked for it, there is a parallel universe where you are getting that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, can I let go? Can I release? Can I surrender? Can I like face my shadow and like do this shit or not? And it's, I've been thinking a lot about separation too. And just like, when you want something so bad, you're kind of like pushing it away. But if you can, like, 'cause the visualization, I struggle with that a lot. I'm getting to a place where it's becoming a lot easier through all of this work. But I would feel like I was faking, like I would imagine myself in some house or something like that.
So I think the really powerful thing about breath work is you don't need to visualize. You don't need to focus your mind. You just breathe. It can be mechanical in the beginning, but just in that breathing, you naturally enter that trance, and then you naturally enter a visionary state. So you don't need to make the meditation happen or the visualization happen. The breath work gets you into a space where you're more receptive to that.
And then maybe it's your future self is actually giving you the downloads of the true thing that you want, not like coming from your ego of what you think you want.
Exactly. And then you've got that other thing you mentioned before, like, what does surrender mean? And I think there is an element of kind of thy will be done, the will of the divine coming in. It's like we might think we want to manifest something and then it doesn't happen. And that's not necessarily only because you didn't manifest well. It's because maybe that's just not part of the path. Or maybe that's, like you said before, it takes 1.5 years for you to manifest. It's like...
Not anymore. It takes you 2 minutes. Hello? Yes, Netflix, I will. I'm available. All right. Well, is there any final thought? Tell us where people can find your stuff. And I know you've been working on some tracks too, some breathwork tracks.
Right. So I've got a few songs on Spotify, but that's just sort of a side project. Music is one of the best ways of going into trance as well. And then I've got a YouTube channel where I've got some of my breathworks and some other kind of lectures and talks about various aspects of breathwork and mythology. So I imagine that will be in the box somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll put link that stuff below. And I love you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And
one of my soulmates. I love you so, so, so much. I can't believe the universe gave you to me.
It's been such a joy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. I love you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.